Hi guys, welcome to this session. Thank you for joining us again. Thank you for taking out your time to join us and listen to another amazing session. I'm really excited to be here as always. So we'll get right into it. So the topic for today is the future of real estate. Is tokenization. So we are looking at real estate sector and the synergy between tokenization and the real estate sector. So why this is important is technology is changing everything globally. Every single sector of the government, the society, the economy is being changed. There's a revolution, technological revolution ongoing. I mean, we're living in a 21st century world right now where things are being done differently, unlike before. Technology, machine learning, AI, artificial intelligence, big data, Internet of Things, fintechs, everything is changing. The narratives are being changed. Um, Things that seemingly felt like they were unachievable a long time ago or a few years ago, say 5 years ago. They are very much achievable right now. They can be done with a lot more of ease because of the technological wave that's going on right now. So we're going to look at how this affects real estate. With regards to tokenization, we are laying emphasis on tokenization, which is something that is changing the narrative right now. And I hope this is as much fun as we loved preparing it. It's just a brief analysis and description of what tokenization is, how it works, how real estate can benefit from these advantages, what to look out for, just basic information, little information here and there. Let's get right into it. So tokenization um, it can also be simply said to be fractionalization. So you know what they call fractions. Fractions are like parts of a large object or a main item. So this is the same logic that goes into tokenization. So it's like having fractions of um, or tokens of a certain object um, or or projects. So what this means is, sorry about that. What this means is you break down a certain project or an object into little tokens, little parts, little fractions. And how it relates with real estate is that there are lots of real estate assets that are quite capital intensive. A lot of people can't afford them. There's a lot of bottlenecks attached to owning this kind of properties, registration of these properties. So it's just like having a building or a project or a real estate asset broken down into pieces, into fractions. And this each of these fractions or each of these tokens still carry the same value and rights, equal value and rights of that property, of that land. So what it means is instead of one person or an individual or a group of individuals rather, or a company owning all the rights to one project or one building, um the it's the reverse. A lot of people now own the rights or the rights to those properties. So what it means is in simple terms, it just means fractionalization. It just means breaking down that real estate project or that real estate property into different fractions without losing the value without losing the rights on those lands or those properties. So if Mr. A has a property that is over $200 million, and he wants to um, make sure he gets right investors to invest into that property, and he's finding it really hard to list that property, to sell the property, to um, make good returns from that property, because he can't find someone who can pay that lump sum capital or that amount of money for the investment. He might probably consider tokenization as a solution, in the sense that he's just going to break down the tokenize the property, in the sense that he um, uses technology to create these tokens that are broken down, and they have the rights. Each member or each owner of these tokens still has the rights to those properties or to that particular property. So it's broken down from 200 million to say 20 million dollars, so into 10 places. And then people this affords people the opportunity to invest, people who were not within the initial spending brackets or investment brackets of $200 million. So in a short form, I'm going to read what we have here. It says tokenization improves fractionalization with the possibility of splitting real estate assets, which I just mentioned. Is the real estate assets are split into smaller shares or fractions, and also it helps automate the ability to transfer ownership. So technology is at the core of this, so it's easier for um, ownership to be transferred, ownership to be traced also, and ownership data to be kept without tampering. Nobody can tamper that. And also it helps in transparency of transactions or transparency in transactions, and also helps inclusion of different parties. People who were not able to afford these properties are given the opportunity to at least invest and earn from this real estate property without depositing such huge lump sum amounts of money. And this is irrespective of their locations and obviously their race or their economic ability, or let's say it just includes everybody. It's a major factor as regards inclusion, and it's also open source. So we're going to be talking about all this in details, but it simply means tokenization simply refers to an improved way of fractionalizing real estate assets, breaking down splitting real estate assets into smaller shares or smaller tokens without losing the rights to those properties. So instead of having one person owning this large building and having limits as regards transfer of ownership, how much money he can make, how much money the property can accrue. Um, Tokenization helps change and makes this investments better by breaking this investment, these properties or these assets into small tokens or small shares, allowing other people, lots of more investors, to invest in these real estate assets, and also improve the rates of return or return on investment. So we'll look at the other one. What does the real estate blockchain consist of? So we're just giving a foundation or a basis of what's how real estate and blockchain works hand in hand. First of all, blockchain is obviously decentralized, which means it is a decentralized technology, which means it's something that technology is at the core. It is not, no one is literally in control of it per se. So it is also an open source technology. We're going to be talking about this in details. These are some of the pointers we should be looking out for. It's open source technology. There are things as regards smart contracts, and DAOs. DAOs are decentralized autonomous organizations. And then last but not the least, tokenization of this real estate properties on the blockchain. And it's not only blockchain based, there are lots of technology that fosters tokenization to a large extent. So these are some questions. This is just a guideline as to what you should understand about tokenization and real estate involved in the blockchain movement in the real estate space. So these are just little pointers, little explanations that would help. So how is tokenization done? And the answer is simply a single property represented by tokens can be owned by thousands of investors. So that's how tokenization literally is done. It's broken down into fractions, and that single property is represented by different tokens that can be owned by thousands of investors. So the next question is, why is this important in real estate? Um, it is very important because it digitalizes the investment procedure. It minimizes costs, simplifies usage, gives rooms for other types of use cases for these real estate properties, and it makes offerings appealing to investors. It's just it ensures inclusion for every single person who wants to own real estate property without stress, without fear of registration, without fear of um, proper data as regards the ownership of that property, title to those real estate assets or lands. So the next question is, who is this technology for? So fractionalization lowers the investment threshold, allowing so many people to invest. That means a lot. That's one thing that's really good about technology and blockchain in particular. Anyone has a chance. It gives a level playing ground to every single person. Anyone has a chance to make good investment decisions and um, make profitable returns from that. So fractionalization lowers. Who is this technology for? It's for everyone that wants to invest. Fractionalization lowers the investment threshold. That means it reduces the investment requirements, allowing so many people to invest with as little as possible, depending on the floor price for the tokens, also determined by the community. That means these decisions are not made by one person. That's why blockchain is decentralized. It is made by the decisions are finalized by the community for the community's benefits, allowing every single person to invest with as little as possible, and it lowers the threshold, the investment threshold, giving opportunity for everyone to invest. So when is tokenization coming? It's here already, to say the least. It is here already because things are already happening. The space is already buzzing. So DLT-based platforms, which stands for distributed ledger technology, are gaining lots of traction, and tokenized projects are already existing, while new ones are being introduced daily into the real estate market. So this is just a very simple outline that explains how real estate, blockchain, tokenization, all this, how the synergy comes together. And the questions are really valid. How is tokenization done? Why is this important? Because there's a buzz about blockchain ongoing right now. So you need to have the data and the facts for yourself, know things for yourself. So who is this technology for? It's for everyone who wants to make these investment decisions for themselves and want to get a good rate of return on investment. When is tokenization coming? It's already here, to say the least. So open source, we're going to be looking at open source. I don't know if you remember in the last slide, I just mentioned something about blockchain tokenization being open source. So open source sits at the core of tokenization, giving permission for flexibility, universality, and attention to usability. So what this means is open source projects are projects that the source code is made public by the developers or the development teams, which this some of the very prominent open source softwares in the world are Linux, VLC media player, which is a very popular media player. These are open source programs. So um, there is a contract that is put out stipulating or asking people, developers who want to contribute to the technology, how the technology is run in certain softwares. So it's open source. They are opening it up to developers and every single person who can contribute to these projects and make the product better. And this is a very good idea because if you want to build something, it's always best for you to build in public to an extent because it gives people who are using this, who are going to use these products or these apps or these softwares or these platforms or these websites are are the end users. And once you have these end users contributing to the project, that means you've solved over 60% of the problem. And it is really important. It enables flexibility. Changes can be made to fit the needs of the user. It enables universality, which means anybody from anywhere in the world can contribute to this project, irrespective of who you are and where you are at that point in time. And also attention to usability, which means it has to be very usable. So a number of top companies and softwares are known to be early adopters of open source and the technological advantages it brings. I mentioned some companies like Linux, VLC Media Player. There are lots that are hinged on open source softwares. So anyone and everyone can contribute, modify, and share parts of the code simply because these products or prayers these products or projects, sorry, are made available or built publicly. So they just make it available to the general public and people contribute and it helps the product get better with time. So the source code of companies are not usually seen traditionally. However, the open source projects software store the source code in a public repository and allows public to modify the software to best fit their needs. So this is why I explained earlier on open source projects, pardon me, blockchain projects in particular also because they are big on open source. They allow the public to modify and correct the software, shaping the software to fit their needs. So it's like giving an open invitation to the public to come help us build this thing. So because it's something that is being built for you people, and so that was really really important. But however, the open source projects or softwares, um, they store the code. Lots of these traditional companies they don't give out their code, their source code, but open source projects allow this source code to be accessible to all who wants to contribute to the project. So that's we're just giving you background of what it is. Blockchain technology is sweeping the globe entirely and without any relent. I mean, if you've not heard about Bitcoin, Ethereum, blockchain, DeFi, decentralized finance, smart contracts, um, the Web3 and everything. Everything is changing right now, crypto and all that. Blockchain technology is sweeping the globe entirely. And when it seems like it's done for, it still comes back for more. And without any doubt, it is already here as regards the internet. So definitely, it's definitely not what we were what we had known before, and this is really important also. So the information passed on here has been only accessed by less than 40% of the entire population. That means you're in good hands. I'm listening to us here because tokenization, it's not yet buzzing as much as it should be, but very soon, real soon enough, this this is going to take everywhere, rampage everywhere, and so it's really important to stay ahead of the game. and it's right to say that you are in the right company since you're listening to this. So global economies are on the brink of the decentralized movement or regulation, and it's really important or salient to be thinking in these directions to avoid losing value after such social, cultural, and economic shifts. Um, so Bitcoin, blockchain, and decentralized web is everywhere right now. So tokenization will broaden long-term economic growth by making unhedged, expensive, and valuable assets classes more accessible to a wider range of investors. When applied properly in real estate industry, this value proposition becomes quite feasible and broader. Um, Real estate assets are not affordable for a majority of people. This is how the real estate market looks like. Majority of times, they are not accessible for a majority of people who are in dire need of them. The real people who need these services. Blockchain technology is largely decentralized, meaning anyone has a chance at gaining some from such opportunities. Improvements in innovative ways of investing, management, and administration of property holdings. Um, Tokenization is beneficial to all parties involved, developers, investors, as well as regulators. Next one. So real estate tokenization eliminates the entrance constraints and expands the market. This is the part we're talking about inclusion, expands the market for private investors and entrepreneurs. It's um it is something that is really important. Real estate tokenization eliminates constraints of entrance, constraints of investment. Tokenization solves the problem of increasing demand and diminishing or limited supply of land and real estate services, or rather assets. So the thing is, a lot of times people have there's an increase in demand for real estate. Every day, people are looking for homes. People are looking for houses, how to get their houses, but the amount of properties for sale or listing are not anywhere close to the total amount of the property itself. So tokenization investment plans essentially have no list deposits, and transaction fees are much cheaper. Investors may purchase and sell tokenized real estate through digital exchanges or secondary listings, and this is a way easier way for people to invest. It's a way easier way for real estate investment to be carried out. So the same approach, such as when cryptocurrency is mined and owned or governed by an entire community. There is no early access to the token or private allocations before making them public. So it's the same way. It's just blockchain can be used for different things, and real estate is becoming. It slowly become. It has slowly has become one of the most important sectors that blockchain can help resolve a lot of issues going on. Um, So tokens are used to represent actual ownership stake as well as to raise funds. Some people use it to raise funds for infrastructure projects. Sometimes they have these investments that are quite um, tasking or cumbersome, rather than stressing themselves trying to achieve it. If tokenization solves a lot of problems, allows um, allows a lot of people to get involved, offering broader variety and diversity of investors. And this is really, really important at this present time. So we're going to be looking at some things about the real estate. So the Nigerian real estate sector, or rather the global real estate sector market value is at 280 million $280 trillion dollars, making it one of the largest markets on earth. At the same time, it's one of the most illiquid and intransparent markets out there, which means there's a lot of wrongdoings that happen in the real estate sector globally. So, also, tokens are created during a security token offering. That's an STO. So, just like you have an IPO, initial public offering, they have STOs, security token offering, and this allows people to have access to these tokens that are created. Real estate property is broken into tokens, fractions or parts within the country, each having proof of ownership, rights and titles, and also secure data. So because blockchain is public, immutable, and chronological, the history of transactions is natively available in the ledger, creating a traceable sequence of transactions. So the way blockchain works is um, you can always track who is in charge. You can always track who has whatsoever. So this would help resolving a lot of land disputes, as well um, as well as issues as regards um, as regards knowing who is the exact owner of different properties. And this is really a very helpful matter. So tokens in blockchain represent two types of information: who owns it, who owns the token. You can, if you look at this, if you look at the technology properly, these tokens state clearly who own it, who own them, and it is really important to avoid to avoid um to avoid losing investment a lot of time. And so what we're trying to say is that tokens in blockchain represent two types of information: who owns it, that is to which address it is recorded, and the chain of transactions, how the transactions have been going through. Um, so real estate property. So this is just a simple explanation. Um, Real estate sub property that is being that was split into tokens or fractions of real estate, thereby allowing people to invest more and also still increasing the value of the real estate project. So in a nutshell, real estate investment, ownership and transfer um, of ownership are inevitably moving online. You cannot say that this is not new. It is what is happening right now. So it's something that will not change anytime soon. So until proven differently, blockchain seems to be the most favorable technique for doing so, for carrying out tokenization, which is really important. This one is a really short one, so I'm really grateful for taking out your time to listen to what we have to say. Tokenization. We'll be bringing out more content to support a lot of things and a lot of topics we've been discussing so far. If you have questions, feedback, suggestions, you can always hit us up, send us a message. Follow us on our different social media platforms. Reach out to us. I mean, we're always here willing to learn and listen to what you have to say. Yeah, so until next time, thank you so much for hanging with me. Thank you so much for kicking with me. Um, I'll see you when next we have another content to put out. Take care of yourself. Peace and love. Cheers. Thank you. And we out.